What are some tricks in bed that everyone should know? Ooh, spicy. If your sheets keep popping off the corners of your mattress, you need deep or deep pocket sheets. If you have a fan on low, even if it's not pointed at you, it can create the kind of noise that prevents you from hearing every little house click and thing happening outside. Ooh, yeah, that is a dangerous game you're playing there. When it comes to pillows, quality is more important than quantity. Also, don't sleep in your daywear. Sleeping in jeans? Not me. Tuck the most inaccessible corner first when changing the sheets. Change your bed sheets. Having a clean bed sheet really changes the ambience, and put your thermostat down a few degrees. Putting one arm under the pillow makes it more comfortable. That is true. Make sure to place torches all around your bed so monsters don't spawn and you can jump into bed right away. What is that, a Roblox joke? Anyways, my name's Brandy and I'll be your narrator for the evening. Welcome back to Ask EmKay. You get $1 billion if you can start a massive argument at your family's Thanksgiving dinner. What's your game plan? Announce I'm getting $1 billion and I'm only sharing with my 3 favorite people. Can you guess my favorites? First, we would have to have a Thanksgiving dinner. Then I would pay my sister $500K to not come to it. After that, all I have to do is sit back and watch. So Thanksgiving is the same, but I get $1 billion. Best Thanksgiving ever. Say, I just won $1 billion and I don't think I'm gonna share it with any of you. So my wife and I decided it's the perfect time to become full-time missionaries in China. We're bringing the kids too. You know, my mother-in-law's Thanksgiving dinner tastes better. What is the scariest story you know that is 100% true? My mom was driving and a guy ran out in the road, so she stopped so she couldn't hit him. It was nighttime, so it was pretty dark out, and 3 other men emerged from the forest around, all trying to use door handles of her car to get in. She locked them, luckily, and gassed it to the nearest town. Remember to always lock your car after you start it, because if it wasn't unlocked, who knows what would have happened to her. Just like they said, remember kids, always lock your car doors. Artemis Pyle, the drummer from Lynyrd Skynyrd, survived a plane crash and walked to a nearby house only to be shot by the homeowner. The homeowner saw a bloody, long-haired man and winged him. Pyle survived that as well and made a full recovery. Okay, that guy just sounds invincible to me. My friend tripped and fell onto the tracks, landing his face onto the 3rd rail. We kind of stood there in absolute shock because we thought he was dead. But then he said, "Can I move? Will I be electrocuted?" We told him to move instantly, and he did. We got him off the tracks, and no less than 2 minutes later, a train went zipping by. I think the 3rd rail turned on seconds after his face came off it. I know that's not scary to a lot of people, but to me, it was because I would have lost a close friend back when I was about 12. Oh no, he was a child. Oh no. I was in a crappy motel. The room had bed bugs. I was too exhausted to go to the front desk. I just needed to make it until the morning. I slept in the tub. Hours later, I hear someone break through the window. I had a big knife with me and ran out into the room to find a man halfway through my window. We stared for a while at each other in shock. I think we both were scared. Then he says, "Is this your room?" I'm like, "Yes, this is my room, man." More staring. Then he slowly starts backing out while cursing me for leaving my window unlocked and not expecting him to break in. What kind of person gets mad at you for leaving your motel window unlocked when they're breaking in? Alright, next up. What's a good TV series that can pass time in, let's say, 14 days? I beg you to watch Orphan Black. You know, if you're begging, I guess I'll give it a shot. I think I'd go for an assortment of miniseries, like The Bridge, Broadchurch, The Night Manager, these kinds of things. I'd probably also watch my way through some classic crime like Poirot or the Sherlock Holmes series from the 80s. I haven't heard of half of those, so I might as well give them a shot too. Gravity Falls. I wish it didn't fit within 2 weeks, but it's gold. That's true. That is 100% amazing show to watch. Band of Brothers and The Pacific. I'm guessing this one's a bit of a war buff, if you know what I mean. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. 14 seasons, 14 days. 1 season per day. That is homework right there. That is, like, I love that show, but that is a lot. The Expanse. It's on Prime and it's basically Game of Thrones in space, but the White Walker storyline pays off. That right there is how you sell a show. I slept on The Expanse, but now I'm gonna give it a shot. If they made a show called White Mirror that was about all the positive aspects of the human-technology relationship, what would be the plot of certain episodes? Interesting. Ooh, I wonder what people came up with. I read something a little while back about an AI escaping its lab and living on the internet and subtly manipulating things for the better as it learns about humanity. I would really like to see that idea expanded on. It's like if Ultron didn't hate the world after he went on the internet for 4 seconds. Fed up with apps like Snapchat and Instagram showing you what you're missing out on, a young girl creates an app which shows all the good memories you don't remember. Now that actually has a lot of potential. I would watch that. Disease and aging are eliminated by science. The Earth becomes a giant nursery. Once people reach a certain level of maturity, they're sent out to forge their destiny among the stars. The episode would be about the person left on Earth the longest and their journey to discover why. A lonely person finds a not horrible group of people with similar interests and eventually meets up with some of them in real life. Remember that episode of Futurama where Fry gets to go back and see his mom in her dream? That would definitely be the plot of one. A daughter grows up video chatting with her dad, who rambles on and barely lets her get a word in edgewise, giving loving advice and accolades and familial anecdotes, but who is absent at every major life event up to marriage and always apologizes. She is accompanied to the altar by her mother. Afterwards, the chat with dad has him in tears because he regrets more than anything missing walking her down the aisle because he passed away while mom was pregnant. What a twist. Oh my god, I need that. How do you deal with an overly friendly neighbor who asks too many questions about your life when you happen to be outdoors at the same time? This is a problem I run into a lot, so hopefully I'll get some good answers here. I live in an extremely religious community, Mormons, so this happens all the time. I used to try to be vague and give hints, but the best technique I have found is this one. I'm kind of a private person, and then I compliment them on something I have noticed. Nice grass, or hey, thanks for checking on me. I know it comes from a good place. Yeah, that's probably the best middle ground option you can go for. I'm that neighbor. I'm an older lady who lives alone, and I'm just trying to make a connection with my neighbors. If something happens to me or my pets, I'd like someone nearby to at least notice they haven't seen me in a while or worry about my pets. That's actually sweet. It's a fair response. If you're not very open to chat, just keep things polite, yet quick. It's nice to have a good relationship with your neighbors. If they do delve into personal questions, just say, that's a bit personal, I'd rather not talk about that. Most important thing to do is be polite. Don't be an asshole or act standoffish when it's not necessary. Honestly, just use some common sense. Don't be a Redditor is all I'm saying. Ooh, the shade of it all. Sell your house and try again. That's, if that's your only option, I think maybe they're not so much intrusive, just trying to spark conversation. I would say stop what you're doing, give them 5 minutes of undivided attention. Don't have to reveal too much, just get to know each other. Then wrap it up with an, alright, good to see you, I gotta get back to this. Yeah, but I still don't want to talk to him, What moment made you say, yep, I'm definitely dead, but survived with no major injuries? I had an idiot friend and we were hiking. We got to this waterfall and he goes, dude, let's climb it. I said, no f***ing way. He says, well, I'm gonna do it, and if I fall and die, it's on you for not coming. So I climbed it with him. Got stuck halfway up on a slick ass rock, pinched a nerve in my shoulder so my right arm was useless. I thought I was certain to slip off the rock to my doom, but we managed to get me unstuck. So I climbed it with him. Got stuck halfway up on a slick ass rock, pinched a nerve in my shoulder so my right arm was useless. I thought I was certain to slip off the rock to my doom, but we managed to get me unstuck. That was the beginning of the end for that friendship. Yeah, that seems reasonable enough. I survived a car crash that wrecked my car, rolled twice, landed upside down, learned the hard way that I didn't have airbags, or at least they didn't deploy. Did have my seatbelt on though. That probably saved me. Paramedic said he hadn't seen a wreckage like that and have it end well. Very, very lucky user here. Very happy they're safe. Parachute deployed but failed to open. That was one of those moments. Then training kicked in. Cutaway failed chute, deploy secondary. But for a brief moment, life was about to be over in my mind. And that is why I will not be skydiving. Tire popped going over a 2-lane road with steep drops on both sides. My car jerked to the side hard and my car went sideways. Half my car hung over the side and luckily it's low so it bottomed out. I climbed into the back seat and jumped out back door. Some dude in a truck pulled me out and I drove on a flat to the other side and swapped my tire out. Went whitewater rafting on the Gauley River and my raft flipped on Pillow Rock, one of the most famous Class V rapids. Scariest moment of my life, but other than unexpectedly swallowing some water and almost vomiting, I came out completely unharmed. Whitewater rafting is so scary to me. It is, oh no. You have been accepted for an experiment. You must stay in a room with nothing but bed, toilet, food, water, and no human contact for 1 month. If you succeed for the whole month without giving up, you get $5 million. Do you accept? And what are your coping strategies to avoid mental breakdown? No human contact. I've already got that down. I'd probably figure out how to carve on the walls, create art. Yeah, that's actually a good use of your time while you're in there. I would try. I'm a pretty big daydreamer, and I think that between daydreaming and sleeping, I would manage. Daydreams can only get you so far, I promise. For $5 million, I would try and I would succeed. You could put me in a pitch black room with Photographer by Nickelback on repeat the whole month and I'd still make it. Day 29, they turn on the night vision and see my ass with a poop hat on, still grinning from ear to ear, daydreaming about all the dope shit I'm gonna zip zop with 11 million Nickelbacks. Come on. I think I would start talking to all of the hallucinations I would start having. I would probably do a lot of stuff that involves moving my muscles and touching the walls, floor, so I don't feel so alone. What really obvious thing have you only just realized? That when I was a kid and my dad would take me to the video store on Friday nights and he would go into the back room where only adults were allowed, that he was looking at oh no. That the phrase mint condition means like new because it's the condition coins leave the mint in. I must have been around 11, 12 years old when I realized that in order of appearance during the end credits of a movie doesn't list the actors/actresses by who is the most good looking. I learned a couple years ago that it is not the mayor of bad news, it's actually the bearer of bad news. I'm 25. Oh buddy, oh no. I only just today realized that the walk the plank on a boat is not a special edition pirates added to their ships as a means of public execution that looked like a little wood diving board. It is, in fact, the very same plank as the gangplank you'd normally use to get on and off the ship. It is not presence of the plank that is threatening, but the absence of a dock. You have 5 minutes to hide a paperclip in your home. A detective has 24 hours to find it. If they don't, you get $10,000. Where are you gonna hide the paperclip? Up my ass. I doubt he's gonna spend 24 hours investigating there, and if he does, win-win, baby. No. Give it to my 3-year-old. Tell her it's important and to remember where she leaves it. Oh, the reverse psychology of it all. Open it out and slide it inside a chicken breast. Put chicken breast in the freezer. Between the radiator fins of the split-type air conditioner, it's easy to insert, yet position is not very accessible and would need to disassemble that aircon just to get a glimpse of it. Burying it with the last detective who tried. Oh man. Men with an anime girl as your profile picture? Why? On all levels except physical? I am a cute anime girl. My cousin's logic was that because the enemy is distracted by the anime, they hesitate before shooting you in the head. My cousin was better than me at Counter-Strike, so I did not voice my many questions of this bit of lobby Q wisdom. It's so my waifu can protect my virginity. Dress for the job you want, not the job you have. I used to use a kid's cartoon character in my online poker profile. I selected it purely so that the other players would underestimate my gameplay and fall easier to my traps. Worked really well. What is not a fun fact? Bus seats are designed so that you cannot tell how dirty they really are. There is a whale called 52 Blue that only sings at their frequency, meaning it cannot communicate with other whales. It is nicknamed the loneliest whale on the planet. Aw, poor little guy. Your skeleton is wet. Ugh, that just shivers my timbers. Your intestines will wriggle themselves back into the correct position. Doctors who do any type of intestinal surgery don't have to worry too much about how they put the intestine back in. That's the grossest game of operation I've ever heard. A certain type of anglerfish reproduce via the male burrowing into the side of the female, eventually fusing. The male life is lost in the process. Oh, here, gross, ew. When you get a sunburn, it's actually your cells dying so they don't get tumorous. Redditors who cut their grass at 7 a.m. on Saturday morning and wake up the whole neighborhood. Why do you do it? Because 5 a.m. seemed inappropriate. Because my parents made me. I used to have a neighbor that I guess wanted to take advantage of the headlights on the front of his riding lawnmower, so he would mow after 10 p.m. at night. It didn't keep me from sleeping, but it was weird to hear a mower going at bedtime. I distinctly remember my neighbor across the street mowing his lawn during the solar eclipse a few years back. You know how birds and insects supposedly go quiet during these things? We still don't know if that's true. We were trying to figure out why the dude couldn't give it literally 2 minutes of rest. Damn, Mike, look up. Neighborhood's whole rooster woke me up at 6:30, so I might as well mow. How else am I supposed to get my white New Balance shoes dyed green? What's an industry secret in the field you work in? I design slot machines for casinos. Don't play slots. I'm an attorney. The secret is shut the f*** up. Managed boarding and grooming kennels for 8 years. The secret is that the employees actually do love your pets too, even the difficult ones. Most of us realize they just miss their people. The number of times I've wept when a pet died, or spent way too many hours comforting a dog with separation anxiety, or spent hours off the clock with a boarder who needed to be rushed to a vet office. Wouldn't trade it for the world. Some pets just suck though, not gonna lie. I'm a server. No matter how much we insist it's okay that you're keeping the entire restaurant open after we've closed, please know we are 100% lying. We will get fired if we deviate from anything other than pure delight that you are keeping us from going home. We dread it. Please don't believe us. Almost every hairstylist gets the heebie-jeebies when we shampoo their hair, and you just stare up at us. Close your damn eyes at the shampoo bowl. Used to screen resumes for small companies. Job requirements are more of a wish list situation. Never let some unchecked boxes deter you from applying. You have no idea what the applicant pool is like. The biggest boon, especially at small companies, is someone who legitimately cares. If you have never posted something using your 10-year-old account, what would your first post be? Damn, your Wi-Fi must be terrible. Things I've learned observing Reddit for the past 10 years. I'd be upset that I ruined my 10-year no-post streak. Sorry guys, I think I was muted. Did you get my posts? Holy crap, you waited 10 years for this? Lol, LL, laughing out loud. Best time to post on Reddit is like the best time to plant a tree. Best time was 10 years ago. The next best time is now. People who choose to be kind every day despite of not receiving the same kindness back. What motivates you? Because I could be the other person. That's something everyone needs to remember. It could always be you. I try not to reproduce behavior I don't like in other people. Makes me like myself more. I'm kind because I'm kind, not because other people are. Because I know how it feels when you're down and your day, week, month, year just f***ing sucks. And if there's a chance I can make just one person who feels like that have a better day and feel good for a bit, then it's worth it. To be honest, for me, it takes a lot of effort to be That is also true. It's a lot harder to be mean. How do you feel about a 4-day work week? Working a 5-day work week just makes life seem so much more pointless. By the time I get the other things I need to do, grocery shopping appointments, etc. done, it's Sunday night. 4-day work week might give me time to play the piano I bought to combat depression. My employer gives us every other Friday off. We work 80 hours over 9 days. It's really helpful to have those Fridays to schedule appointments, and I have less desire to burn PTO throughout the year just to take a much needed Friday off. Through the end of October, I had only used 2.5 PTO hours for the year, mostly for doctor's visits. The only real downside is that on the Fridays that we do work, nobody wants to do anything. I'd probably hate Mondays less. Life would be that much better. I would have somewhere around 50 extra days a year to do all the yard work and home projects that I don't want to spend all weekend doing. They talked about this in the 70s. Yay, everyone said. My dad did it. He worked 4 12+ hour days and took off Friday. Everyone else was like, if I work the 12 hours, the 4 days plus another 12, I can make even more money. Yay! What's the most amazing thing about the universe? The only way we can see the universe is from inside it. We will likely never possess any way of viewing our universe from outside its physicality. A single human brain has as many neurons as there are stars in the Milky Way galaxy, around 100 billion. Source: I'm a neuroscientist filled with useless facts about brain. This is one I thought about recently. I believe that Carl Sagan said that we, sentient entities, are a way for the cosmos to know itself. With this in mind, when we think about the end of our universe, whether it be through a big shrink, big cooling, or what have you, we get apprehensive. We probably will never see this end. Many of us will be dead. Yet, we still get a cold fear in our hearts. We are also a way for the cosmos to fear its demise. If you were on a planet 65 million light years away from Earth and had a really good telescope, you could see the dinosaurs. Whales are the biggest known creature in the known universe. That every single random event since the dawn of creation, the birth and death of stars, planets, and galaxies, the very genesis of life has led to you being here right now to ask this question. Which conspiracy theory is so believable that it might be true that your phone's microphone is constantly hot and it's listening for keywords to target advertising? The most glaring instance where this happened to me was when I walked into a colleague's office. He had just gotten a standing desk, but one that goes on top of his existing desk rather than a standalone model. That's important to know. I said, "Nice standing desk. When'd you get that?" "Thanks, just today," he replied. That was literally all that was said about desks. We talked about work-related stuff, and as I walked out and checked my phone, there was an ad on Facebook for that exact model of standing desk. Full credit to the user, the next village, for this one. The arms on a Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton are backwards. They ought to be rotated 180 degrees. What good are these stubby little arms for? We found out relatively recently that T-Rex have feathers. It is now an established fact T-Rex were not covered in scales, but in feathers, like a bird. Take the arms on a T-Rex and flip them 180 degrees. Now you have wings, like an ostrich. Here's an illustration of an ostrich skeleton. See the small arms, wings? All rocks are soft until you go to touch them. The ballistic missile threat that was sent to Hawaiian cell phones saying, "Seek shelter, this is not a drill," that was later deemed a mistake, was a real missile that was intercepted before impact. Dyson purposefully made the cable shorter over time just before announcing the cordless version. My DC-01 has a 12-meter flex, my DC-14 has a 6.5-meter flex. They purposefully made the flex shorter to be an inconvenience and make people want the cordless version. Cops go on Waze and leave random police sightings to cause people to slow without actually having to stay and check on people. Assuming athletes would be nude at modern Olympics as they were in the ancient times, which discipline would be the most cringy or the most awkward to watch? Speed walking. Everything just flopping around. That would be, what a sight. Judo, karate, and rugby. Just a bunch of men hugging up on each other. Nothing wrong with that. Vince Carter's dunk of death would be 10 times more disrespectful nude, and it's already the most disrespectful dunk of all time. Fencing's gonna be painful, but the shooting is probably gonna be one of those kinks I didn't know I had. Synchronized swimming would just be aquatic presentment. Ice skating or speed skating. One crash and it's bye-bye junk. Probably best just to cancel the Winter Olympics entirely. Have you ever laughed so hysterically at something so simple you were starting to get legitimately worried that you were losing your sanity? About what were you laughing so hard then? Every time I see this one Vine where it's the GameCube startup sound but it ends with a guy tripping and yelling, I bust out laughing. I cannot explain why. I was in a large multi-floor bookstore, walking down a flight of stairs when I heard a phone ring. A sales clerk answered it. Self-help. May I help you? Me and two friends were working on a movie, but we messed up some files and accidentally replaced black screen after a character's sewer slide with a panorama of cinnamon rolls. I was working in a group home, finishing up some paperwork after an overnight shift, and accidentally wrote shampoo instead of shampoo. One of the residents asked me if I needed help. I was laughing so hard. I was in an SAT class and we were going over practice questions. The instructor read out a group of spoon collectors and I began laughing so hard and for so long that I had to leave the classroom. I'm over it now, but it was troubling. Wet soup? Just the idea of going into a restaurant and asking how the soup is and being told wet. Children of, I want to talk to your manager. Parents, what has been your most embarrassing experience? I was 13 when this happened. My mom had made a reservation at a hotel for a trip, but when she got there, the lady said there was some error with the reservation and that my mom's payment didn't go through. So the lady offered us a double bed room for a discount. Rather than just taking the room, thanking the lady, and leaving, my mom decided the best course of action would be to scream in the middle of a hotel lobby, nobody's going anywhere until I get my effing room. She then proceeded to pester the lady, who clearly couldn't do anything about it, until eventually she called the police on my mom for public disturbance. Mortifying. Not my parent, but my grandparent. When I was around 10 years old, my grandmother went out and got us, her, my brother, and me, McDonald's. We got home and we didn't have napkins in the bags. No big deal, right? We have paper towels and napkins in the house. Also, me and my brother are pretty good with not making any messes while we eat. Nope, grandmother got us in the car, drove back to McDonald's, demanded a manager, and screeched about how upset she was that we didn't get any napkins. I wanted to just melt into the floor and disappear. It's just napkins, Nanny. When I was a young child on a long-distance flight, my mother let me and my brother sleep on the floor. For safety reasons, the flight attendant told my mother that we were not allowed to sleep on the floor. She started to argue with the flight attendants, who then turned to the pilots. The pilots threatened to turn the plane around unless we get up from the floor, but she continued to argue. The pilots announced they were about to turn around because of my mother, so all the passengers got pissed. Eventually, she caved in when she had all passengers and flight crew on a Boeing 747 against her. Before Value Village changed policies, she would cut tags to get discounts since the cashier would basically make up whatever price they thought it would be on the spot. If they highballed it, she would get a manager involved, and I hated that. My mom demanded to see a cafe's hygiene certificate when she saw an employee go from cutting cake in the kitchen to handling money at the till, even though the real problem is going the other way. Oh, you're a programmer? I have a problem with my printer. What's the equivalent of this in your job? Oh, you work in finance? What stock/fund should I buy? / you must be making a boatload on your personal investments with all the insider information you have access to. You're in the Air Force? So you fly planes? Nah, I fly a desk. Oh, you're a teacher? Please explain to me how my child's teacher had the audacity to give them a C, despite it being very obvious that my child is a genius. Bonus points if they want you to explain the grading criteria in a completely different subject and level of schooling than you teach. Like I teach high school and community college English and social studies. Why do you expect me to know the grading criteria for middle school math? Oh, you're an airplane mechanic? What part do you work on? Every part. Do you get discounts on flights? Free on my airline if there's a seat open. Can I get a buddy pass? Do I know you? Oh, you're a paramedic? I have this thing on my toe. Will you check it? Oh, you're an accountant? Can you add or multiply these huge numbers in your head lightning fast? No, you have no idea what I do. Robin Williams once said, God gave man a brain and a penis, and only enough blood to run one at a time. What are some real life examples of this? My boyfriend and I will be having a perfectly normal conversation. Then I'll start changing for bed and he just short circuits, loses his train of thought, completely forgets what he's talking about, and immediately comes to hold me. Every time. He's seen me naked for the last 10 years. That's why you should always have an extra flask of fresh blood with you. You never know when you need your brain. I sent my boyfriend nudes once and he ran his truck into a tree because he wouldn't stop thinking about it. Girl behind the register started flirting with me. Blue screen so hard I paid for my groceries but forgot to take them with me. Didn't realize until hours later. That captain who crashed a mega yacht showing off for some chick on the bridge? Millions of dollars. People no longer bound by their non-disclosure agreements. What can you now disclose? This one's gonna be spicy. I disclosed to a minority partner that the majority partner owed him $100K. He could have easily received a check for that amount, but he sued for $700K, spent $300 on a lawyer, and got nothing. The book book you're reading might only be a bestseller because the author had enough money to buy thousands and thousands of copies, have them shipped to a warehouse for storage, and eventually destroyed. The secret ingredient in Jimmy John's tuna salad is Kikkoman soy sauce. That is in fact true. I work there, and that is 100% true. I worked at a small bakery in New York City when I was younger. Every morning, the bakery would take their day-old cupcakes and deliver them to a tour company that did Sex and the City tours. The tour company would pass our cupcakes off as cupcakes from Magnolia, and significantly much more popular bakery. You know, NDAs are only good if you have the money to sue. Worked with a company that didn't pay me, so I told them their NDA didn't apply. They threatened to sue. My response, you can't even afford to pay me. You sure as hell can't afford to sue. I used to work for a large gas station chain. I worked at a warehouse where it creates a lot of donuts. The room was really hot, so we were always sweating. There's some machines where the donuts get glazed in chocolate. They're these small machines, they look almost like a barbecue grill. They always wanted us to be super fast glazing the donuts. Working in a hot room and working at super fast speeds, it was natural for a lot of people's sweat to just drip into the chocolate underneath us. Never eat the chocolate donuts from a gas station. My last company, a medium-sized airline, paid their CEO a $10 million bonus after he bankrupted the company. 20 years from now, what will be the new? You are not always going to have a calculator in your pocket. You're not going to have internet access everywhere. You're not always going to have someone to clean up after you. Robot Butler has entered the chat. What if your car runs out of gas? That still seems like a common issue. And what if your phone doesn't have service? Then I guess I'll die. You won't always be living with your parents. That is true. I have a right to online privacy. Adults of Reddit, what is something every teenager needs to know? It's okay to say no to anyone. Don't let anyone in your life guilt trip you into doing something you don't want to do or are uncomfortable with. It's exactly as lame to not do something you want to do because it's too mainstream or popular as it is to do something only because it's cool and the cool kids are doing it. Learn a second language. It's good for your brain and it's a lot easier when you're young. Get active and fit. Make it a habit. This is one of the most important ways to stave off cognitive decline as you get older. Plus, it's great for managing mental health during the transition to adulthood. The first step to being good at something is being bad at something. Paraphrased from Jake the Dog. Start trying to save money now. You will definitely thank yourself later on. Get a marketable skill. Unskilled labor sucks. You need something that's going to pay you. It doesn't have to be your life's passion, contrary to what my peers were saying at that age, but you do need to be able to tolerate it. What's the cringiest thing you've seen a bride and groom do for their wedding? Long ago, I worked at a banquet hall and witnessed a fully NASCAR-themed wedding. During the reception, they played the audio of the proposal going out over the PA at the track. It was fully unintelligible. I'm so sorry for that. Other highlights were the owner locking himself in his office to avoid the bride's father because he was threatening him to haggle on the costs. In the end, we had to call the police because the bride in gown climbed over the bar to steal more sweet MGD after we had closed the taps and the event was over. In-laws' wedding and groom and all groomsmen were wearing a tux and a ball cap. The groom had a dip of tobacco in during the wedding, and I you not, his groom's cake was designed like a Copenhagen can. That is just revolting. I was a photographer for a wedding where the bride was marrying a man with 2 kids from a previous relationship. I was in the bridal suite when the bridal party was getting ready and all of the bridesmaids had matching silk robes. The flower girl, groom's daughter, was there too. They asked me to take a group photo of the bridal party and one of the women in a silk robe was standing awkwardly to the side. I thought she was just shy or something, so I waved her into the photo and the room got dead silent. And the bride was like, "Oh no, we don't want her in the photos," and glared at me like I should have known that. Apparently, she was the groom's ex-wife and was there to take care of the flower girl. But why did you give her a matching bridesmaid's robe? I wanted to crawl in a hole and die. At my cousin's wedding, they did the thing where the groom removes the bride's garter and tosses it to all the single guys. I guess none of the guys wanted to be next to be married because once the groom tossed the garter, no one grabbed it. It just landed on the ground a few feet in front of a crowd of motionless guys. The groom tossed the garter 3 times before one guy half-heartedly picked it off the ground. The bride wouldn't look at any of those guys for the rest of the night. My uncle not only brought up his daughter's ex-boyfriend in his speech, but talked about their toxic relationship for a solid 5 minutes. I highly recommend preparing a speech before talking in front of a room full of people. Not the couple, the pastor kept saying, "Our Heavenly Father, Daddy God," while marrying them. For context, it was a military wedding. It was just the couple and the pastor. It was live streamed on Twitch and the pastor was probably about 25. It was in Hawaii, he was wearing flip-flops and a lei made of fake flowers. What's a relatively unknown technological invention that will have a huge impact on the future? I was talking with my spine surgeon, who just has a spine surgeon, and he said in 30 years they'll be able to regenerate the gel in your spine, practically giving you a new back. A little more background. I've herniated the same 2 discs cysts in my lower back twice by the time I was 30. My doctor told me that by the time I'm 50, I'll most likely need back surgery, but it shouldn't be a big deal since they can replace the gel, not sure technical name, that's been impacted by the slip discs. Research into bacteriophages, bacteria-target viruses, could cure antibiotic-resistant bacterium such as MRSA. Gene therapy is no longer science fiction. My girlfriend got Luxturna surgery and the results have been amazing. She used to be unable to see at all at night, and now she can guide herself without a cane. More treatments like that are going to keep coming and be standard before we realize it. Printed human skin and organs. That could actually be very interesting, seeing a 3D printer print out replacement organs like a liver or something. That's cool. I saw a new solar panel that is like Glad wrap that goes on windows. Clear, thin film that covers windows and collects solar power, so you don't need to put the large panels on rooftops. So if you think about it, on city skyscrapers, there's more surface area on the sides of the buildings than the roof. Everyone east and west of the building having invisible solar panels. And for our last question, what is the pettiest, silliest, most meaningless hill you are willing to die on? The people on the elevator exit first. That means before the losers waiting for the elevator enter. Always, every time, no exceptions. After you've finished using something, say a pair of scissors or a flashlight, put them back where they belong so the next person can use them. You lose loose change. Your team did not lose. You did not loose your wallet. You don't have lose change. This is my Waterloo. Having any sound coming from your phone over the speaker in public. What the fuck is wrong with you? I don't want to hear your music or your conversation. Scrape your dang plate off before putting dishes in the dishwasher. I'm home from college right now, living in a 5-person home, and my sister is the only person who understands this. Everyone else basically puts meals in the dishwasher, or they let things like cereal get stuck to the plates and cups, which drives me crazy. It's a dishwasher, not a garbage can. Calm down there, fella. Chew with your mouth closed. That is a pet peeve, I will agree. And that wraps up today's video. See you next time.